is a quick introduction to my first novel, The Flower Eater, which was just published at the end of August 2013. This story took me 15 years to write and is the culmination of my childhood dream to be a published novelist. Kirkus Reviews recently reviewed it and called it delightfully entertaining, which I was very grateful for. The Flower Eater is set in a medieval fantasy world where a maiden named Trilla has been accepted into training by a sisterhood of priestesses who serve a goddess called Zaire. Trilla, the heroine, is well on her way to becoming a priestess in this order until she meets a handsome young blacksmith and is tempted to break her vow of chastity. However, she still wants to be a priestess despite the lust that she feels for him. So she wants to have both, really. And Trilla begins sneaking away from the halls of the sisterhood, traveling along numerous paths on cliff sides and through woodlands to have clandestine meetings with the blacksmith. And she's very conflicted, as I said. There are 18 high priestesses who govern the sisterhood of Zaire. This image represents the Time Sister, who is one of the high priestesses. And the role of priestess offers the only real position of power and prestige in this world that Trilla inhabits, and she has always wished to have that. This is the Moon Sister, another high priestess. The Moon Sister is very mysterious and knowing, and Trilla is worried that the Moon Sister is onto her and will uncover her secret. And that would bring with it a great penalty and expulsion from the sisterhood. And this image, which I think is actually an image of possibly a Civil War ruin, was the best image I could find of a full moon and is very evocative to me of the atmosphere of the clandestine meetings that Trilla is carrying on with the blacksmith, which often happen in the ruins of an ancient temple. This is a rooster. There is a scene in the story that features a rooster involving some magic that the rooster is involved with. This is a plastic rooster that I won during a Yankee swap a couple of years ago. But I just love it. I think it's very expressive. And among the priestesses' skills is they work with flaming fire crystals in a form of elegant juggling during sacred dance and other rituals. And Trilla really wants to learn these secrets and become talented in them. So she truly is wanting to be a priestess. And in this scene, at one point in the story, she has to navigate a labyrinth in pitch blackness and can't see what's in front of her. And when I wrote this story, I really didn't know how it would end, so the writing of it was sometimes like my own personal labyrinth. And this is a purple lily that I planted in my own garden and watched grow during the many years that I was writing this. Lilies are in the onion family, as I'm sure many of you know, and like an onion, my experience with publishing, specifically self-publishing, has proved to have many layers, and like working with an onion, it has caused me many tears. And this is my quirky garden. Several types of flowers do appear in the story of The Flower Eater, and certain scenes were definitely inspired by my wandering through my own flower garden among these flowers. There's a lot of energy of flowers, and this is a photo of Lenten Roses. There are no actual Lenten roses in the story, but I took this picture a few years ago, and it has ended up as the author photo on the back of my book. It was the best photo. I didn't really want my face, so I went with this one, which I feel is very atmospheric and fits the story. And then we have some roses, which also play a part in the story. The many flowers do feature pivotal roles in the plot, particularly roses, which are important to the priestesshood and the goddess Zaire. And back this February, I ran an ad for the flower eater in the Love and Marriage issue of 7 Days magazine. And they placed it right below the horoscopes, which I was very happy to see because psychic powers and divination appear in the story, so it was a great spot to have it. And there is a scene in the story that involves a waterfall, and of course, water is often used as a symbol for turbulent emotions, and the character Trilla does experience all kinds of dramatic emotions throughout the story, so I found that photo that fits. And when I wrote the story, I did want to have a classic fairy tale with all the elements, and so it had to have a knight. The book does feature, along with the sisterhood, the Order of Zer includes a military force of elite fighters known as the Zeren Guard. And during her adventures, the heroine of the Flower Eater develops psychic powers. She begins to experience astral projection, during which she travels through the ether into mysterious layers of reality that only she can enter. And there is an evil villain in the story, but I also wanted a strong, satisfying ending. And for a long time, I was not sure how to end the story, and I wrestled with how I would do that. Then one day, while I was driving in my car, the final scene suddenly came to me, and in a rush of inspiration that really did feel like a gift. And just a few years ago, I got married for the very first time, which felt like the fulfillment of my own personal fairy tale. And my husband couldn't be here, and he didn't want to have me put his picture, but this is his dog with a copy of the book, The Flower Eater. And thank you very much.